Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming to you live on Facebook and on YouTube, together with my dear friends here at Congregation Bethel in Missouri City, Sugarland. And you're welcome to join us here every week at 7:30 on Thursdays at Congregation Bethel for thank you, Susan, for a class delving into the purpose of life and the meaning of our existence. In this week's Parsha, we see an incredible idea, and that is that the Jewish people are forced to slavery in Egypt. Why? Because as the Parsha begins, there's a new king who comes to Egypt, and he doesn't know Joseph from anywhere. And he says, who, what? I don't know. Jews, get to work. And the Jewish people start their 210 years of slavery. And what's going to be very, very difficult for the Jews is that they're not going to have a second to think. They're not going to have a second to stop and contemplate and plan and strategize. Nothing. You know something? The Yetzer Hara is very, very smart. Because the Yetzer Hara knows that the second that we have a minute to think, we're going to change our ways. We're going to do the right thing. But the problem is that Pharaoh, imagine this, okay? So he has free laborers, right? Free work. Imagine we had that in the city of Houston, or we had it in the state of Texas, or in the United States of America. Imagine you had 2 million free workers. You don't have to pay them anything. All you got to do is feed them. And that's the Jewish people in Egypt. That was it. There wouldn't be a pothole that's not filled in the entire country, because you have free labor. Put them to work. Just give them their tools that they need, and that's it. And you're perfect. What were the Jewish people doing in Egypt? They were free labor for the Egyptians. Eventually, imagine 210 years of free labor. Eventually, all the work will be done. All the buildings will be built. All the bridges would be built and repaired, and so on and so forth. So, how are they going to keep the Jewish people busy? They got to keep them busy. So they took a page out of the Yetzer Hara's notebook. And that is, keep them busy. However you can, just keep them busy. So in Egypt, what did they do? In Egypt, they made them build buildings in quicksand. If you build a building, so you say, I want 20 stories. They built a story and it sunk. So they built another story and it sunk. And they built another story and it sunk. And they kept on building. That way, 210 years, they'll be their slaves endlessly because they never finished their job. But how does that apply to us today? Because we have a Yetzer Hara today that's trying to keep us busy every second of the day. Because if you were to ask someone, tell me, do you think it was a good investment of your time to do this or do that? Could you have used your time more wisely? Most people would say, yeah, I'm sure I could have. So why didn't you? Didn't think about it. Why not? Too busy. You ask people, do you think you maximized your opportunity with your family, with your children? Did you spend enough time? No. Why not? Too busy. Doing what? Working. Today, it's even worse, because today, the Yetzer Hara is so brilliant that he created the most distracting world we can possibly have, in that we have 24 hours a day, in the palm of our hands, a device that we connect to any place in the world, to any website in the world, to any almost any function in your house. Right? You can turn your lights on, turn the lights off, turn your cameras on, turn the lights off. Everything, you're busy, busy, busy with your phone. And today you can do that with your watch. And you can do that with your glasses. Right? And you can do that today with almost any... It's amazing the technology that we have. Do you know that the average human being in 2016 looked at their phone, their smartphone obviously, over 1,000 times a day? Over 1,000 times a day. They look at their messages, look at this, look at that, texting this, texting that. We are being distracted to no end. And that's the work, the handiwork of the Yetzer Hara. He wants us busy. Busy nonstop. And what's the benefit to the Yetzer Hara? Keep you away from doing the right thing, or keeping you away from doing the better thing. And those distractions are distractions that are not easy for us to break away from. They're shackles, they hold us, and it's not easy for us to break away from. So here we have all of these devices. Now, just so that you know, why do we have these terrible challenges, let's call them for a second? We'll see it's great opportunity as well. But why do we have such great challenges with our technology? Because there is something called bechira. Anybody know what bechira means? Free will. You can choose. Now, imagine if you just had this temptation, right? And you don't have something to counterbalance it. Desire to do good, right? So the temptation to do bad versus the desire to do good. So those are opposing powers, and they're equal powers. So what we have to have a very high level, very forceful power opposing that Yetzer Hara. What is that power? That is, today you have at your fingertips, you have all of Talmud. I got an email yesterday from a gentleman. He says, I need a website that can give me Talmud translated in English. I said, you can use a Talmud. Yeah, but I'm traveling a lot and I can't bring the Talmud with me, even though there's the traveler edition of the art, or the Daf Yomi edition of the Art Scroll elucidated Talmud. Incredible work, an amazing masterpiece. But today you have it at your fingertips, and it's translated so beautifully. Not only in English, you have it in Spanish, and you have it in French, and you have it in Hebrew, because much of the Talmud is in Aramaic. And here you have this opportunity. Not only that, you have websites like TorahAnytime.com. You have Aish.com, AishAudio.com. You have, Torah.com. You have websites that are, well, of course, Wolbe.com. I'm going to shout out to my brother, right? He has his podcast website, which has 6,000 or 7,000 downloads of podcasts every month, right? We have the opportunity today to transform ourselves by literally our fingertips. So the Yetzer Hara has to combat that. How is he going to combat that? He's going to give us distractions on our fingertips. We have potential, opportunity to use our phones, to use our computers, to use our... Today you have even on television, you can, not on television, but on those devices called, whatever you call them, still TVs, whatever, right? I don't know what they're called. Or they're, today they're just display boxes, because you can do anything with them. You put your computer on it as well. But basically today you can do anything that you set your mind to. You have the opportunity. The Yetzer Hara has to counter that. So he gives us the distraction. Be busy, 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 busy. You have your ringer off for a minute, right? You missed four messages and an email, and you got a phone call, and you got 3 texts on your WhatsApp, and just stay busy is what the Yetzer Hara wants. Stay busy, busy, busy. And that's the challenge that we have to do today, what we have to overcome today, is there's a known principle that they say about managing your finances. That if you want to put money away, or whether you want to give charity, you want to put money away for savings, right? What do you have to do? You get $100. Don't wait for the last $10 to give to charity, because that'll never happen. Take the first $10 of that 100, right? So you have $1,000. You want to take $100 and put it into your savings. Don't wait till you get down to $100, because you're never going to take it out then. Take it out in the beginning. Before we get carried away with our schedule, before we get carried away with our day, assign a few minutes to just contemplate, to introspect, to just evaluate, how am I going to make my day a better day? How am I going to make my day more useful? Let's not be like the Jewish slaves in Egypt, who were kept busy. Just don't think. Be busy, because Pharaoh understood this principle. Pharaoh understood that if I let those Jewish people have a lunch break, you know what's going to happen? They're going to rebel against me. They're going to have an uprising. And then they're going to topple my government. They're going to have a coup. I can't let that happen. Work, work, work. No stop. That is the terrible, terrible challenge that we have of always being busy. A person has to take a few minutes of their day, every day, just a few minutes, to just time out. Evaluate, am I going in the right direction? You could be driving with a bunch of friends, busy talking, schmoozing, not paying attention. 1 second, am I even going, where am I? Mm-hmm. Right? We need to stop for a second and just evaluate. Am I heading in the right direction? It's not only, it's on a daily basis, but we should do it every week on Shabbos. We should do it every month on Rosh Chodesh. We do that every year on Rosh Hashanah. It's a time to stop and to reevaluate. That's the great gift of Shabbos. The great gift of Shabbos is this is one time of the week we're not busy with anything. I'm not running anywhere, because I have nothing to cook now. I have nobody to call, nobody's phone calls to answer, nobody's emails to read, nothing. The world shuts down. We light those Shabbos candles. We take everything that happened during the week and we elevate it. That's it. Now we're done. Now we just focus on ourselves. We focus on our family. We focus on our spouse. We focus on our children, on our friends. We want to spend quality time together. And that is the danger of slavery. That was the danger the Jewish people had in Egypt, is that there was non-stop labor. So my blessing to all of us is that we should always have the time, make the time. It won't come on. I guarantee you, you'll never have a sudden email come to you and say, hey, you forgot to take your 5 minutes to just contemplate. You forgot to take your 5 minutes to just think about yourself. Are you heading in the right direction? That's what we need to do. We need to stop. We need to take a lesson from the Jews in Egypt. We need to take a lesson from Pharaoh. He understood that our strength is having time to focus. And he wanted to take that away from us. So he put us to work and work and work and work nonstop. Right? So Hashem should bless us that we should focus, and our life should be filled with direction, and we should know the right way to live and not be slaves, just like we were in Egypt. We shouldn't be slaves to our phones. We shouldn't be slaves to our technology. We shouldn't be slaves to our job or to our career, but rather we should be servants to the Almighty, right? And maximize every day of life. Thank you, my friends, for joining us on Facebook. Please, if you like this, like it and share it with your friends so we can teach Torah to more Jews. And now we're going to resume the rest of our class here at Congregation Beth El. Thank you very, very much for joining us.